Please welcome Geoff Plitt.
Give it up for everyone you've already seen tonight, guys. Yes, just got into Vancouver. It's a beautiful city. One thing I've learned in any city is that it's important to know yourself. So one thing I know about myself, I have an annoying voice. I sound like a guy you meet at a party who's about to explain bitcoins. I know that about myself. My last name is weird, Plitt. What is that? I've had a lot of bad nicknames. Right in health class in 5th grade it started. They called me Plitterus. Yeah, they changed it in 6th grade, thank God, from Plitterus to Plittorus. So I hated it even more. Then in 7th grade I started to like it because I realized, you know, Plitterus kind of fits me. I'm compact, I'm very sensitive, and sometimes I am hard to find. So they nailed me. Fun fact, I love whistling. And everyone whistles now and then when they're bored, but for me, guys, I think whistling is a universal form of communication. Let me explain. No matter where you go, if you hear, you know what that means? It means it's time for a gunfight. And every woman has raised her whole life to know that if you hear, what's the translation? Can we have sex? And the answer is definitely no. And if you hear, that means you just met R2-D2, you're at a Star Wars convention. But you probably don't know this one. If you hear, you know what that means? It means I'm an alarmingly good whistler. Funny thing about whistling, the shape of your lips as you do it makes it look like you're kissing somebody, right? I have found, through trial and error, that whistling is a great way to guarantee I will be kissing nobody. I was thinking about this the other day. There's this old song, Ave Maria. It was written centuries ago, and the song is actually about the lady of the lake that gave King Arthur his sword. It's a beautiful song. It goes, Ave Maria. But, thank you. But, it was written centuries ago, so I wonder if they just wrote it down wrong. Maybe it wasn't A-V-E Maria. Maybe it was A-Y-E Maria, like, hey Maria, get out of that filthy lake! That's what they meant. I love history. I was reading about Helen Keller. If she was alive today, I think she would have been a liberal, but I think she would have hated Obama. Because every sentence that guy said started with, look, or listen. Little things I think about. I love science. I was reading, and this is true, 73% of the world's oceans contain microplastics. That's very alarming. Also alarming, 100% of the world's Ferraris contain micropenises. Let's see what else I want to talk about. Talked about Helen Keller, that went really well. I don't have kids. How many of you here have kids? By a show of silence. Oh, everybody. I don't have kids, but I think to the future of like, if I have kids, what would I name them? You want to give your kid a great name. You want to give your kid a name that when he calls his friend takes out the phone, sees that name on the phone, gives him a thrill. So I'm going to name my kid Scam Likely. That's what I'm going to do. I studied a variety of things in college. One thing I studied was quantum mechanics, you know, where something could be true and false at the same time. Did I graduate? Yes and no. I also like history. This is true. You can share this with your friends and family at the dinner table. In the 1940s, there was a dentist whose full name and everything was Dr. Gay Hitler. Nuts. A dentist calling himself a doctor? I can't get over it. So I'm dating, and even when things go well, I feel like I don't understand women. I was on this date, and this girl said, I'm having a really good time. I said, great. You want to get out of here? And she goes, yeah, I do. Never saw her again. That's my dating life. I think it all goes wrong on the first date, because the very first thing I say is, do you mind if I record this for quality control? Yeah, and sex is very confusing. I was with this girl and I said, should I get a condom? And she goes, no, I'm okay. I have an IED. I said, I think you mean IUD. And she goes, no, IED. I said, am I to believe that you have an improvised explosive device in your body? So, long story short, we did have sex, but just to be safe, I wore the suit from the Hurt Locker. I think it's normal for men to worry about penis size from time to time. Totally normal. I do not. I was with this girl, we were having sex, she goes, Geoff, you've got a mean dick. You never forget when someone tells you have a mean dick. But it turns out she was right because I have the national average. Now, look around the room. If you're not laughing, you're the lowest common denominator. I'm bringing you guys median dick energy. It's a mode you may not be familiar with. If you still don't get it, cheat off your partner's test. All right, enough math jokes. What else I want to talk about? Where are my pot smokers at? Weed people? Yeah, that's way too much enthusiasm for weed people. All right. Does this ever happen to you? My weed got all dried out. I didn't know what to do. So I did what any of you would do. I Googled, how do you smoke dried out weed? And this one person had a tip. Apparently, you take a paper towel, you wet it, and you put it in the jar, and you seal it up, and then if you do it just like I did, the next morning it'll be moist and smoke perfectly, and if you do it just like I did, the next morning it'll be filled with mildew. Yeah, so I'm looking at this jar of expensive weed filled with mildew, didn't know what to do. I did what any of you would do. I Googled, can you smoke mildew? One guy had a tip. Apparently, you take all the mildewy weed, you grind it up into a fine powder. You pour that into a syringe, add rubbing alcohol, inject that through a filter with molecule-sized holes in it, get a spoon, catch what comes out, grab a lighter, go to the oven. By the time I got that far, I'm like, I don't think I'm that kind of pothead. If you're gonna go that far, switch to crack. You've got the skills. Take a look at me, guys. I'm not a tall man, and I'm not used to women throwing themselves at me in bars or anything. But recently, this girl comes right up to me at a bar, and she's like, oh my God, you're perfect. And I was flabbergasted. I said, go on. She goes, yeah, you're everything I've been looking for. And I was like, go on. And she goes, I want to take you with me right now. Let's go meet my boyfriend. I'm like, whoa, 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 boyfriend? Go on. And she's like, let me explain. So my boyfriend is really tall and muscular, kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And you, on the other hand, you know, have you seen the movie Twins? And that's when I figured it out. I said, let me get this straight. Your tall-ass boyfriend sent you out looking for a Danny DeVito counterpart? And that's why you said I look perfect? That's really insulting, and there's absolutely no way that I'm gonna come with you to meet your boyfriend. So we go to meet the boyfriend. He takes one look at me and he's like, no way, babe, who's this? He's not gonna work at all. This guy's way too tall. Best day of my life. I'll leave you with a couple quick things. This is a true story. I was at a comedy show, and this guy started talking really loud in the back, basically wrecking the show. You know how that can be. So I took it upon myself. I went up to him. I said, buddy, can you just be quiet for a few more minutes while we finish the show? And to his credit, he was polite and nice the rest of the show. But let me tell you what he looked like, because I'll never forget. He looked like if Matt Damon was fat and bald. Okay, picture this, bald, fat version of Matt Damon. So I tell the story to the bouncer on the way out, and the bouncer goes, oh no, I saw that guy, I carded him. That was Matt Damon. So it turns out in the darkness, I couldn't see very well, and Matt, well, he wasn't bald, he had shaved his head, and he wasn't fat, he was jacked for that movie Elysium when he went to Mars. Guys, the point is, I told Matt Damon to shut up, and he listened. How do you like dem apples? It was an important night for me. I went home, updated my resume, directed Matt Damon. Yeah. One last thing before I go. This is a dream that I've always had. It's never come true, but the more people you share it with, maybe it will come true. What I want to do, guys, I want to open a Jewish-Mexican fusion restaurant one day. And I'm going to call it Jalapenos. It's the only place where you can sing Hava Nagila while you have a tequila. And I'll be collecting all your emails after the show. Thanks, guys. I'm Geoff. Good night.